assessment depends, again, very much on the level of work that they're doing. And I think, as we talked a few minutes ago, a lot of STEM education is organized and thought about, and instructors think about, how do I deliver content? And that's almost, it's unspoken for the most part. People don't talk about it, simply assume that's what you're doing if you're teaching the STEM disciplines. So you're teaching an awful lot of scientific or applied science or mathematics content, which the intention is to teach someone what everyone else already knows. And it can be not only difficult to learn, but very difficult to teach. Right? So that's one area where there is, and how you would teach that and the barriers around that would be very different than the barriers you'd face in and around teaching material where we're not teaching something that someone already else knows, but we're asking them to actually create in some fashion. So if you're in, let's say, in psychology, you'd be very interested in how do I do scientific research? That's a creative practice. If I'm in engineering, it may be some sort of product design in the very broad sense. It might be a structure, it might be an engineering system, or it might be a new business, perhaps, or service. But the kinds of barriers students face in those different areas are very different. So we know from the perspective of students teaching or learning in content-based a very important concept, the notion of deep learning. And research has shown us that there was a very well-known study where a group of students were being taught first-year physics. And the goal is to move their mindset from Aristotelian notions of motion to Newtonian notions of motion, conceptually change how they think. Right? We go through the process of teaching them. The course evaluations are great. The students get great marks. But when they actually evaluate have they conceptually changed their framework, it turns out most of the time they haven't, by a huge percentage. So that's so our assessment methods are a barrier. We're assessing sometimes the wrong things. And it's easy to assess things through multiple choice and repeatable measures, when in fact we need instructors to probably be more interactive with students in some fashion and give students more responsibility for the learning. And some of our value systems as teachers and and the structure of the university and methods of assessment of instructors are not helping. They actually get in the way of actually sometimes doing the teaching that needs to be done effectively.